I am William Stewart, co-founder of Teleios. Welcome back to our verse-by-verse study on the book of Matthew. We're in the end portion of chapter 24, in the middle of the Olivet Discourse, which includes chapters 24 and 25. This is an important discourse of Christ discussing the end times as he teaches his disciples soon before his terrible suffering resurrection. But of course, his glorious resurrection to follow. So Christ has given some parables which provide direction to the tribulation saints. So remember, the tribulation's that 7-year period of God's wrath on believers that have become believers during the tribulation. And between the rapture, where the church is taken out of the way to be with Christ, so they do not know God's wrath. And then the 7 years ends with Christ's second coming and the initiation of his kingdom. So the 7-year period is a terrible time. These are instructions to the tribulation saints, I believe. He's told them to look for the signs of Christ's coming. And then starting with verse 32, there were then 3 parables to be alert and stay vigilant for his coming. And then this parable changes the tune a little bit, though still connected, about who is the faithful servant. Let's go to the text in verse 45, and the text asks the question I just did. Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom the Lord, in this case a parable, the master of the household or king, has made ruler over the household and to give them meat in due season. And it then says, blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he comes, shall find him so doing, otherwise doing the things he should be doing. Verily I say unto you, that he shall make him ruler over all his goods. So if he's faithful in a little, he'll be given a lot. Just the type of person you'd want working for you. But in contrast, verse 48, and then that evil servant shall say in his heart, my Lord delayeth his coming. And he shall begin to smite his fellow servants and eat and drink with the drunken. The Lord of that servant shall come in a day that he looks not for him, and an hour for which he's not aware. So again, the sudden coming over which the prior parables have talked about, as well as in Revelation as well, a number of times. And the Lord shall cut him asunder, literally cut him in two, and appoint his portions to the hypocrites, otherwise those who, I think he's saying, already have gone to hell. He'll join them where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth. Okay, so what we learn for the tribulation saint, not only should they be alert, but they should be faithful in doing the will of God. And that faithfulness demonstrates, I think, their faith. Particularly here, he's talking to the Jews. I've spoken about the Olivet Discourses, particularly to the Jews. It's interesting, if you read the Old Testament, the concept of faith is often tied up in the word shema, the Hebrew word for to hear. And to the Jew at that time, if you've really heard somebody, you've trusted what they've said and you're doing it. So I think that reflects James 2, an epistle to the letter about works. Otherwise, if you've believed, you're doing. Those two are connected. It seems for the Greek, there's an intermediate stop of belief. You hear, you think about it, you believe, and then you go do. And for the believing Jew, it seemed to be automatic. And this doing reflects their belief in what God has told them and to do in the preparation of his coming. Okay, thank you for joining me today. We'll continue in chapter 25 next time with some, again, fascinating parables. I hope you'll join me then.